Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to be looking at histograms in more detail and interpreting and answering some questions based on histograms. So I know you saw them when we were filling out the frequency tables. We're going to look a little more in detail about them, and I want to just point out some differences between a histogram and a bar graph because they do look similar, but there are some minor differences. So with a bar graph, you may have noticed that all of the bars do not touch. There is some space between all of the bars. Here in a histogram, you're going to notice for the most part, these bars are touching unless there is no data for one of the values and there's nothing there. That means there would be a gap there and we would have 0 for this interval of 51 to 60. Okay, so that is one big difference between a bar graph and a histogram. Histogram, all the bars touch. The second difference, the histogram has a range of numbers as part of the x-axis. It's not just one value. So we can't have detailed information in a histogram. I don't know exactly what numbers were part of the data if I'm not given the data. Let's say this information on the top is not given. I don't know what numbers are part of this bar, whether it's a 9, a 7, or a 6. We don't know. It's just general information. So that's the other difference between the histogram and the bar graph. So let's take a look at this example here. Fernando collected the following data. He was looking at the number of paintings per exhibit, and all of the data is listed here on the top for the number of paintings. He made a histogram of his data, which is his histogram. So I'm going to compare the top histogram to the bottom one. I notice the first two bars are exactly the same. The third one is not. The third yellow one is not. The pink one is the same. The yellow one is the same. This pink one, the last pink one, is not the same, but these yellows are the same. So we want to focus on the ones that are different and then look at the data. Okay, so I'm first going to look at the 21 to 30 category because those bars are different between the two graphs. And I want to count the number of numbers between 21 and 30, including 21 and 30. So I'm going to look through the data here and circle what's 21 to 30, or put an arrow to it. And I just see the number 23. That's the only one that's between 21 and 30. So there's only one value. That means this piece is correct, and this graph on the bottom would be correct. Let's take a look at another example here. All right, so the advertising agency counted the number of billboards in each city in the state. So the number of billboards is on the x-axis, and the number of cities that have those number of billboards is on the y-axis. You'll notice here we don't have a set of data, so I can't tell exactly the number of billboards that 20 of the cities have. We don't have that data. I also notice here that we have a gap between these in these intervals, which means that there are no cities that have 20 to 29 billboards. There are no cities that have 50 to 59 billboards. All right, so let's take a look at the question on the bottom here. Are there fewer cities that have 0 to 9 billboards or cities that have 20 to 29? Well, 20 cities have 0 to 9 billboards and 0 cities have 20 to 29. So which one has fewer? Will be the 20 to 29. All right, our next question. A shipping company keeps track of the number of boxes in each shipment they send out. So we want to look at how many shipments are there in all, which means we want to add up where these bars end. Okay, so from 1 to 20 number of boxes, there are 35 shipments. For 21 to 40 boxes, there are 20 shipments. 61 to 80 boxes, there are 45 shipments. And the last one, 81 to 100, there are 25 shipments. So I'm going to be adding together the 25 plus 20 plus 45 plus 65. So let me think of an easy way to group these. 35 and 45 is 80, and 20 and 65 is 85. So that's 165 altogether. All right, let's take a look at one more example here. For a math assignment, Rachel researched the scores of the people competing on her favorite quiz show. So the scores are on the bottom, and the number of people that got those scores are on the y-axis. So which score range was achieved by the most people? So we want to look at where the bar is the highest here. So 45 people achieved a score of between 0 and 9. So that would be the score range that achieved the most people. All right, so test it out on IXL, see how it goes. If you have questions on it, please message me or post to Google Classroom. Have a good day, guys. Bye.